Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Muge Carsley, and I have my colleague, Ab Vand, on the webinar with you. We are with GDI Consulting, and we're going to go through the OASIS Plus small business, the latest changes that was made on the second iteration of the draft RFP issued a couple of days ago, and some changes to substantiations, which we will demonstrate or go through this webinar. Administrative notes. This webinar is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be sent to you within 24 hours. At the end of our webinar, we're going to hold a Q&A session. So please feel free to send in your questions while we're going through this webinar using your chat, which is to the right of the window, and we'll address them at the end. You can also download this presentation by clicking on the link under the file to the right-hand side of the panel of your window. A little bit about who we are. GDI Consulting has been around for more than a decade. We have rocket growth. We have 61% growth in revenue, 12% increase in IDIQ and GWACs, and 23 increase in new clients. We definitely have established ourselves as a reliable and a credible government and federal contracting consulting firm. We have a very high win rate. Our average win rate is 82% in the past 3 years. When we do establish our relationships with you when we're going through our review of your solicitations, we definitely give you an assessment, and we'll give you if you have a good chance, we'll move forward. Otherwise, we'll let you know that you should either team up or not bid on this. As far as experience, we have more than 50 very experienced proposal managers and writers covering almost all federal agencies. More than 84% of our experts have 20 plus years of government contracting experience. In 2021, we've had 143 wins on multi-million-dollar proposals, which we accumulate to more than $12 billion. Experience on self-scoring. GDI Consulting is very successful on self-scoring proposals. We've got 41 wins on the OASIS small business and 12 wins on the unrestricted. We've got 29 wins on Astro small business and 18 on the other than small business emerging in large companies. We've got 8 wins on HCATs and 1 win on the unrestricted, 6 wins on Alliant. Basically, an average win of 96% or more is what we do claim on our self-scoring proposals. We also do the self-scoring training for PTAC, APMP chapters, and individual clients. Our clients do range from very small companies that we have helped also partner with stronger companies. We have large defense contractors, one of the top 10, and we are experts in maximizing your scoring and ensuring compliance. Just an outline of our webinar. We're going to do a very brief intro to OASIS Plus. Then we're going to go right to what has changed in the second draft. Substantiation rules, substantiation procedures, announcements, and as mentioned, we'll do Q&As at the end. I'm going to run through a short intro to OASIS Plus. Again, it's a GSA GWAC. It is a multiple award GWAC with $60 billion expected estimated ceiling value. There is an unlimited number of awards expected. As of the current draft, as you can see the RFP numbers on your screen. The second draft was issued on March 6th. They are still thinking that the RFP is going to be issued in the second quarter of FY23. Questions are due to the second draft on March 29th. The tracks that are allowed to bid on OASIS Plus are total small business, 8A, hub zone, service disabled, veteran-owned, woman-owned, small business, and unrestricted. The domains, we've got management advisory, technical and engineering, research and development, intelligence services, environmental, facilities, and logistics. For the scoring system, the maximum score is 50 for all domains. The minimum qualifications for a small business is 36, except for the enterprise solutions, which is not a part of the small business submission. That's only for the unrestricted. The key players, we need 5 qualifying projects, or QPs as it's referred to in the RFP, which give a maximum of 36 to 45 points, or 72% to 90% of the score of the, depending on which domain it is. I'm going to now turn it over to my colleague, Ab, who is going to run through the changes in the second draft RFP.
Thank you, Mugay, and hello, everyone. Thank you for attending the webinar. As Mugay said, the second draft RFP was issued on the 6th. They made another change on the 7th, and a final change, I hope, today, again, changing the compliance matrix. But what I'm going to tell you covers everything, including the updates that they did today, plus the Q&A. They have split it up. The current Q&A that they have uploaded has 300 questions and answers. I've gone through that with our team. So what I'm going to tell you covers whatever GSA has uploaded so far on the SAM website. So let's start with that. The changes are essentially I've grouped them into 6 areas: general and administrative, changes regarding the QPs and FEPs, federal experience projects, systems and certifications, some of the changes in partnering, anything regarding substantiation, and then finally the scoring system, because they've changed the scoring matrix, and you'll see why and how. So general and administrative, there's been some of these I will go just mention them because of shortage of time. We won't be able to actually go into the details of them, but I will explain the more important ones. There's been some clarification towards the contract NAICS. So once you're awarded your contract, which NAICS they're going to put for it. And they've said that the largest NAICS, whether it's the value or number of staff, employees, that will govern which NAICS will be given to your contract, because per FPDS requirements, you can only get 1 NAICS per contract, even though you might, for example, go for multiple domains. This is something they're working on to resolve. There's some clarification towards mergers, acquisitions, and innovations. Nothing very important, so I will move over that. The volume structure has been fully removed. There's not going to be any, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, anything like that. So they've removed that. They have updated the proposal table. There's a table in the RFP telling us which documents are needed, in what format, and what, and that's fully updated. We will go into details of what might the updates be in the later sections. The project verification form has changed and it's been updated. Now they say that it can be signed by the core if the contracting officer is not available. So that's a change. However, in one of the question and answers, they have recommended that you do not send the project verification form yet to the CO or the core, because they've said that they might change it before the final RFP comes out. So the final RFP might have a different project verification form, and you might have to resend it again to the core or to the CO. So the recommendation of GSA is that you don't use it. We recommend that you give the core or the CO at least a heads up, or even send them what is available just for them to know what it is. But if you have good relationship with them. But the final one, we have to wait until it's out. Clarifications on financials. You must provide 3-year financial statement plus a narrative on any negative financial info, if any. There's a mention that awards will be mid or late 2024. This was mentioned in the Q&A, nothing yet, nowhere else in one of the answers. So that's something to look for and ascertain whether that's correct or not, or they meant something else. There's been some on-ramping clarification. There were multiple questions whether, you know, they're going to be continuous on-ramping or not, and they've said no, it's not going to be continuous. They will announce on-ramps at specific times. However, there will be open and cross movement or cross ramping, whatever you want to call it. What I mean is that if you are on the contract, you can always submit your proposal to move to a new domain as well, and you don't have to wait. And they've said that it takes 60 days or 3 months for them to respond back to you. So once you're on the contract, you can always add other domains to your system. There's also, there were some questions with regards to outgrowing the small business size, both by the prime and the sub. The answer they provided with regards to the prime, they mentioned that you need to provide re-representation if you do some sort of a novation or your bot or something like that, and that changes your size. Other than that, the re-representation must be done at the end of the 5th year. So far, they have not directly answered that question very clearly, but from what I understood, and perhaps others can read that question as well, the question with regards to the, you know, growing out of small business size, they've said that, or I understand that even say in the 2nd year you grow, since you have to wait until the 5th year for re-representation, you can still continue on, but at the end of the 5th year, you have to go to the unrestricted domain, and it would be better to apply for it beforehand and be on it before you're dormant on small business. As to the sub, they've said there's no problem with that. So if one of your subs outgrows the small business size, you won't be able to use them after that, but it has no effect on your own contract. Moving on to the QPs and FEPs, the date constraint on contracts has now changed. Initially, the first draft RFP said that the contracts must be within 5 years from RFP submission or proposal submission date. They've now changed that to 5 years from the RFP issuance. So it's a little bit less time, especially for those companies who've got contracts awarded in 2022, late 2022. We'll have to see when the full RFP drops. Whenever the full RFP drops, that date is the end of the 5 years. So you have to move back 5 years from there. Okay, OTAs have been fully removed as an acceptable QP or FEP. So if you had any OTA contracts in your lineup of QPs or FEPs, they have been removed. There were some clarifications on labor categories. They've said that it covers the entire BOSLBs, so a large list, but essentially all of them have those 4, senior, junior, journeyman, and SME classification. Staff clearance, some points here. First, under QPs, you can get some points if the staff required, if the staff had clearance, secret or top secret. First of all, they've reiterated that the contract must have requested it. It doesn't matter if, the personnel did have secret or top secret, but if the contract did not request it, you can't use that. Also, they've clarified the DHS's public trust for suitability fitness. It's tier 4. That's not okay. So if you have a DHS tier 4, that's not okay, but tier 3 and tier 5 from DHS are acceptable. They map to secret and top secret, even though it's not named as DHS tier 3 or 5, but it seems that they're acceptable now. Surge, you must show through an order or modification, or use the project verification form to ensure that there was a surge. They've emphasized that. Distinct functional areas. Now, this is something that everybody is, as far as I know, was making a mistake on. They have specifically said that each domain is a distinct functional area, not each subcategory of a domain. So if you have done work under the same domain, but for 3 different subcategories, that does not count as distinct functional areas. Distinct functional areas equals to domain, equals to M&A, T&E, R&D, things like that. So that's something to consider when you're scoring yourself. Finally, for TOs under multiple award IDIQs, they've specifically mentioned BPAs as well. So BPAs count, but GSA mass orders are not allowed. Remember that. You can't use those as TOs. Moving forward to systems and certifications. Accounting system validation, there was a clause in there saying that the letter from the government had to be within the last 3 years. So there was a max age limitation. That has been removed. So it doesn't matter when you got that letter from the government, it's acceptable. Now, the most important thing that affects everything is that sustainability is fully removed for small business. Now, that changes the entire scoring system, and I'm going to go into that. But as far as almost all companies didn't have that, and that's 2 points. So those 2 points are now spread into other factors. In terms of partnering, the partnering plan requirements have changed. Use the new one, review it. When you're preparing your partnering agreement with your partners, use the new partnering plan that comes with this one. For subcontractors, I've reiterated it here. If they outgrow their size, the prime can continue the contract. Also, for primes and subs, each of them can claim part of a single project if they're participating separately. So, for example, a prime and the sub used to work together on a specific project, and now they're submitting different proposals to the government under OASIS. The prime can use its part of the project that they did together, and the sub can use its part of the project. It doesn't mean that they're using the same project. This is acceptable, even in the same domain, even in the same set aside. However, they cannot, become a partner again in this one, in OASIS, and then submit 2 different, contracts under the same submission. So if you're working together under OASIS, that's considered one project. If they're not working together and are submitting different proposals under OASIS, then each of them can use their own part of that contract. Moving on, substantiation. There was some clarification on non-federal contract justification documents. A list all different types of the documents that you're allowed to use. There was some clarification on how to prove relevance when an auto-relevant NAICS code or PSC is not available. 2 methods, the statement of work plus other contract documents and or JP3 form that you can get the contracting officers to sign. There was clarification. This was on the previous OASIS as well, but the iteration of the RFP, but they've clarified it now. For proof of task orders under multiple award IDIQs, they've mentioned that you have to look up under the extent competed field under FPDS, and there it must either say competed under SAP, or it must say full and open competition. Either of these can be used as proof points, as justification for the fact that there were multiple companies submitting proposals under this MA IDIQ. Okay, so now let's go into the scoring changes. This is the most profound because it changes all the tables, everything, all the calculations that you might have done. So I'm going to go over each of them separately, and then at the end, I'll show you the whole thing in a larger picture. For T&E and M&A, technical engineering and management and advisory, they're similar. So sustainability has been fully removed. So you're free with 2 points there. Those 2 points have been added to the QP management and staffing. So the total score for QP management and staffing used to be 5. It's now 7. For R&D, sustainability has been fully removed. Those 2 points have been added to the advanced R&D. Advanced R&D under federal experience projects. It used to be 2 points, now it's 4 points. Going on, Intel, sustainability removed 2 points. 1 point has been added to the total score for QP scale. So 3 points is now 4 points. And then they've added a new factor. The original Intel matrix did not have ANSI and ISO standards. If you had them, you could get score for them. It didn't have that. Now you can get 1 point if you have, and they've listed the different types of ANSI and ISO standards that you can claim. Environmental sustainability removed. 1 point added to total score for QP specialized functional experience, making it go to 7 from 6, and 1 point added to the accounting system. So the accounting system now has 2 points instead of 1. Facilities, 2 points removed for sustainability. 1 of them is added to the total score for QP management and staffing. 4 becomes 5 now, the total score. And 1 point is added to the total score for the federal experience task orders under multiple award IDIQs. Previously, you could provide 3 contracts. Now you can provide 4 contracts and get 4 points for that. Logistics, sustainability removed 2 points. 1 point is added to the total score for QP integrated experience. So the total score of 3 now becomes 4. And then the other point is added to the QP specialized functional areas, going from 4 to 5. Now, this gives a picture of the entire domain structure. You can see this page is just for the QPs. The red ones that have been crossed out are the older first draft RFP, and the new ones, or the white, is the second draft RFP as of today. So it includes all the iterations of yesterday and today as well, because yesterday and today they changed the matrix again. So this is the new system. You can see that almost in all of these domains, 1 and in some cases 2 points have been added. So the 2 points that you actually that were lost due to sustainability have been added to the QP factors in most cases. Moving to the other factors, which is the FEP, you can see that under R&D, it has increased by 2. Facility has been increased as well. And then under total systems and certifications, since sustainability has been removed from all of them, they have dropped usually from 6 to 4 or something like that. So this is the overall picture of the scoring system and the latest changes that the government has provided. This concludes the most important changes that our team has gone through. Probably they're going to issue another round of Q&As because they've said that those 300 were the first. They're going to issue more. We'll have to see, if they're going to change anything substantially or not. Okay, from here on, I want to discuss substantiation because that has been requested from us from multiple companies to provide some information and experience more because we've done overall about 180 of these contracts, and there's lots of experience, and we wanted to share those. Now I'm going to give you 3 rules. They might seem a little bit funny, but you'll see why they're really important. So rule number 1, always assume that your submission will be reviewed by a robot. Yes, and sorry to our government reviewers, but this is what we have to assume. Prepare your proposal as if a robot is going to review it. What I mean is that the robot will only look at where you direct it and nowhere else. So you really want to show that robot, that reviewing entity, where to look. Don't assume that they're going to look here or there. Don't assume that it's a human and will look at this or that. You must hold its hand every step of the way. This means you must annotate each and every single piece of information that might be needed. And I'll explain that a little bit more later on. Your submission must shout, really shout, hey, look here, now look here, and now look here. I will make this note, and I will come to this again. The new system, the new Symphony system, has included a tagging system. They showed that on the Evolve RFP, and that helps a lot, but that's not all. So don't just rely on the tagging system that the government is providing. Try to go by these experiences that we have accumulated during these years. Rule number 2, always provide multiple justifications. Never be content with one proof point. This rule is based on rule 1. You never know what mood our robot will be in. Has it just spilled its coffee or had a fight at home? You don't want to be at his. It's mercy. Have at least 3 justification documents, if possible, for every piece of information and score point. For example, you want to prove relevance, show, you can have auto relevance, and that's it. That's the minimum you can do. Say you have a NAICS code that is in the auto relevant system. One way of doing it is just to do that. What I would suggest to you is that use your statement of work to prove it. And also, if you're getting that JP3 from your contracting officer for any other reason, use that also. 3 different justification documents. You don't know what happens when the reviewer is looking at your stuff. Maybe for any reason, he just doesn't see it. And it's really hard to get results back once they have decided that you're out. So you don't want to get to that point. They might give you points about after they disqualify you. They might explain it, and they might not. So you don't want to get to that point. Just make sure that you repeat things, repeat justification. If you can provide 10, by all means, don't be shy. Provide all 10 different types of justification. For example, you don't have the relevant NAICS code, and you're going to do it by using your statement of work. Don't just highlight one section and say, this is it, this is the proof. Highlight 10 points. That's what I mean. They're not going to kill you for repetitive justifications. There's nothing against that. So use as many proof points as you can. This is rule number 2. Rule number 3, you are the main suspect. Sorry about that, but this is from experience. From our experience, the majority of mistakes and non-compliance issues are due to working alone and not in a form of a team. That's the first thing. Get the RFP and sections L and M and scoring matrix read by at least 3 different people, not just yourself, 3 different people. Always suspect that you have missed the document, missed highlighting and annotating a piece of information, missed correctly understanding the requirements, etc., etc. Am I being paranoid? No, just don't be too confident. This is the road to being doomed. Confidence is not, on your side here. Unlike traditional proposal writing, self-scoring proposals are all about compliance in form and content. So individual mistakes can take a heavy toll here. That's what I mean. So always work in a team, multiple eyes on everything, and always suspect that you've done something wrong, just to make sure. Okay, so these are the 3 rules. And now based on these 3 rules, I want to explain what the procedure you should go through for substantiation. I'm not going to say for, for this, you must provide this document, for that, you must provide that document. That's clearly mentioned in the RFP. I want to give you some experience and some procedures. I think that would be more helpful than just reiterating what's on the RFP. So first point, start now, because you're going to find out that there's going to be a lot of missing or incomplete documents that you need to chase the CO for. So you need to know what you're missing beforehand. Read the RFP, especially sections L and M, multiple times by multiple people. I reiterate that, multiple people. Create a substantiation table, not a traditional compliance matrix. No, a substantiation table. What you need to substantiate for each part of the RFP, for each part of the scoring that you've done. So it's a separate table. Don't mix it up with compliance matrix. Compliance matrix is for traditional proposal writing. It's something different. It makes things complex here, too complicated. You need a very clear substantiation table. What you need to substantiate, how. Very clear. Ensure you incorporate Rule 2, multiple proof points. So in that substantiation table, you put in what proof points you should put in. Watch the Symphony uploading video. If it's not available by the time you want to get prepared, you can watch Evolve, because it's very similar and it's on YouTube. They have incorporated tags, and using tags, you put the tags on your PDF, and the system searches your PDF using those tags and finds it. However, as I mentioned, don't rely on that, just that. Do that, of course, use the tags, but always do the other types of annotation that is necessary. Now, this is the most important part. Prepare a list of annotation items. This is what I call it, annotation items. These are broader than score points. These are items that you need to annotate. For example, the name of the company. It might seem trivial, but it is not. You must highlight and annotate the name of your company, because the contract must be in your name. They're going to check it, but there's nowhere written that you have to highlight this, but it's something that they're going to check. So highlight it. The contract number, the type of contract, whether it's IDIQ, task order, whatever. All of this you have to highlight and annotate. Or these might include specific score points, like the value of the contract. Obviously, that's something that you get a point for, so you have to, highlight that, annotate it, and provide reasoning even if need be. Or it might be a supporting information, such as the signature on the award document. So prepare a fully complete list of all of these, and it's imperative that you create this list very carefully, put enough energy on it, ensure that all of them are annotated. Remember rule number 1, you face a robot, so you need to show each and every item to it. Don't assume that it's going to look for it. So you highlight each and every item and annotate it. Next, fully annotate each and every information item, including the score points for all contracts. Develop a comprehensive compliance checklist and do at least 2 rounds of reviews. Rule number 3, not yourself. Remember that. Multiple people, different people should do that. I'm going to show you what we used for OASIS Pool 1, the previous OASIS we are developing for this one. But I don't know if you can see it. For each contract, this checklist told me what to look for. For example, this one I'm looking at, let me see, I can show you something here. Okay, so here that I have highlighted is lists all the information that we checked For example, it says company name on a Word document. Okay. Signed a Word document. A Word document is not signed. So I know that this needs some sort of a follow-up. Prime is okay. Contract value is okay. POP is okay. Core disciplines okay. Locations okay. For that OASIS, they look for these. Subs not available. Ancillary support. These were towards that OASIS. But you need to really list everything, and then when you're checking it, assuming that you have finished your annotation, you look for those points, make sure they're there. If they're not there, we used to put this orange color saying that in our first review we found that these were, for example, the award document is not signed. It's a red one. So using different colors and different steps, here you can see we had a ready, review 1, review 2, signed, and final submitted. So these are the different steps that we took to review each document and make sure that substantiation was complete. So you have to create something for yourself if you're doing it in-house, and make sure that multiple people are reviewing. So that's the end of what I wanted to convey to you on substantiation. There are a few points, a few announcements I want to make. 2 systems, in fact. One is a pre-qualification assessment I wanted to mention, and second is the partnering hub that we've created. I will go over these very quickly, but I want to explain why I think they're important for most companies. Why an eligibility assessment? This is, we're doing around 30 contracts right now for multiple customers trying to get on this vehicle. And this is from lessons learned from our current customers. You really need to do an assessment before you start giving us a contract to prepare the whole proposal for you. Because many times our clients used to come to us and say, hey, we have everything. We have 5 full contracts and everything. And we would start on their job and realize that for some reason, they just didn't understand the requirements, or if we should say it this way, we had not fully explained it to them. It was a waste of time and money. And more importantly, if they knew earlier, they could go after partners to compensate for that weakness. So that's from lessons learned. The other thing is that it's a win-win situation, because this used to be, I think we started with over $1,000 and have reduced it each time. It's only $490. It's no real profit to us, but it resolves something for us in that it keeps our client satisfaction high for us, but for our clients, they just don't have to spend a lot of money and find out that they're short of points and then lose time for partnering. So it's a win-win situation. That's why I am suggesting for all those companies who are not sure, who've not done a thorough due diligence and eligibility assessment in-house, to go for this before they actually even award us a contract to do them proposal. Do this beforehand. Finally, for partnering tool, it's used as a partnering tool. If you're a prime, you can use this to find out where your weaknesses are, what you should actually, we'll tell you when we do that $490 eligibility assessment, we'll tell you what contracts are strong, what contracts you have are weak, where are your weaknesses, so you know what to look for in your partners. And if you're trying to be a sub, when we do this for you, we prepare a report. You can always present this report to any partners, and it will be a leveraging point for your partnering negotiations, because then you know where your strengths lie. The process is very simple. We'll send you a questionnaire that looks like this. Each contract, there are 10 of these, depending on how many contracts you have. All you have to do is you put in the yellow area is what you actually input. So you put a name for the contract, you tell us which NAICS code it is, the value of the total value of the contract, and the duration in days. And then the rest of it are just questions that you answer. If it's a yes, you click that box. If it's not, then you leave it. So did you have 5 or more FTEs using the project? Yes or no? If it's yes, you click it. And you can do this for 10 contracts. And then you send this questionnaire to us. Our proposal manager will sit down, work on it, and will prepare a report for you. First, we'll tell you what your score is based on what you have inputted. And you'll see here that, for example, this one, it might be a little bit small. They got 39. There are 3 points above the minimum 36. They provided 9 contracts to us. And we have found that the best 5 to use are the ones that are in green color. They're getting the highest score. And we've used that and we've calculated the score for them. And then in addition to the score calculation that we do, we provide them with a number of written recommendations, how they can partner, where they should increase their points, how to maximize their score, and the final go, no go on what they should do. So this is a report that will be sent to you, usually in 2-3 days after you fill out the questionnaire, send it to us. So I really recommend for anybody who's not done a full due diligence to do this. And I'm going to stop right now and suggest that you go to the right-hand side of your screen. There is a tab named Offer. If you click on that and click on the link there, it's going to give you more information. And you can read it later on after the webinar. I just wanted to stop here, let you know how to actually go there, read more about this. And if you want to do it, just go through with the process. You pay online and we'll be notified. And you can download the questionnaire based on the domain that you're going after and fill it up, send it back to us, and we'll go from there. So the offer tab, you'll see if you click on it, you'll see the link. And click on the link and the page will open up. You can read on after the webinar. Okay, one point about our partnering hub. This is a free partnering hub. So you register here, you make a registration of your company if you're looking for partners. Now, you might be looking for partners to be the prime and they be part of your team, or vice versa. You might be looking for a prime, or you might be both. Either way is acceptable. This partnering portal is right now for OASIS Plus, but you can also register for T4NG2 as well as Alliant. And there are over 100 and some companies already registered, and it's going up on a daily basis. Once you're registered there, you can start filtering the listing. For example, you're going after M&A. Just filter the list for those companies that are interested in M&A and see which one of them are looking for becoming a partner to a prime. And it provides you with a chat system. If both of you are online at the same time, you can chat online. If not, it's going to send an email to your, to the company, and you can connect to each other, call each other, email each other, however you want, and work together. So it's totally free, and you can use it as much as you like. And I've put the link here. I can also actually write it on chat so everybody can see it. Let me give that on to you. So I'm going to paste that right now in the chat box for everyone to see. And you can use this to actually connect to that partnering portal. How we can help very quickly, what we are providing, we provide free consultations, so you can coordinate with my colleague Maroon Freedy. I'll provide the info for his communication with him. And we can provide free consultation, as I mentioned, pre-qualification assessment. We provide full proposal development. So we'll put a dedicated proposal team for you. We'll do a scoring assessment and optimization, full proposal assembly, cradle to grave, full and multiple compliance checks, and uploading to Symphony. So all of that will be on us. Review for companies who are doing it in-house, we can do reviewing and auditing. Once you've prepared your proposal, we can do 2 rounds of compliance checks and see if we can optimize the score and help you in the uploading to Symphony. So that's another service that we provide. Okay, so here, if you download the presentation slides, you can see mine and Maroon Freedy, our VP of Sales and Business Development. Both of our emails and phone numbers are available, so you can communicate with us. With that, we come to the Q&A, and Muge, can you please take over?
Yes, thank you, for a wonderful presentation. All righty, we have a whole bunch of questions. I'm going to try to get through as many as we possibly can. The first question I see is, can I use the same past performance for the unrestricted domain and the small business domain? By using the term past performance, you're referring to qualified projects, so QPs? Yes, you can. If you're in the same domain but bidding under different socioeconomic statuses, including unrestricted, yes, you can use the same QP projects, but you cannot do the same QP for the same domains, for example. But if you're in different, so if you're going as a prime and you also want to be on a small, on the same management advisory, let's say domain, you want to join somebody else's team and you want to use the same QP, that is not allowed in the same small business management advisory. As long as it's a different socioeconomic set aside and a different domain, yes. Sorry, that was a little bit long of an answer. The next question is, in the draft industry Q&A feedback, Q&A number 149 and 150, the answer provided, mass orders will not be considered qualifying orders under the FEP competition in a multiple award environment, and mass orders will not be considered for credit. These are not addressed in the second draft RFP. So as far as there's the federal experience where you get points for having one federal experience with different funding agencies, and the other is the multiple award for federal experience where you have to be the prime. In this iteration of the draft RFP, they removed mass federal supply schedule contracts. So therefore, you cannot use a task order or a contract you were awarded under, information technology under your general mass contract schedule. However, based on a qualifying experience, that contract, a task order you did receive under a federal supply schedule, which includes GSA Mass and the Veterans Affairs schedule, those are considered as a qualifying project, not just not for the multiple award, unfortunately. Question is 3-year financial statements per individual project, contract, or company. The 3-year financial statements are a part of the responsibility for finance, where you have to complete Form GSA 527, and that's accompanying that Form 527. That's when the 3-year financial statements are required. It's for the company, not for your subcontractors. Unless you're a joint venture, then everybody needs to do it. But if you are a prime standalone company on your own, you are responsible to complete the GSA Form 527 and provide financial statements that go back 3 years as an accompaniment to that form. Can we bring on subcontractors after the IDIQ umbrella is awarded? Yes. I mean, I've seen other OASIS pools where, you can have teaming partners to bid on a task order. If you submit as an 8A and your 8A expires before the award, will the contract be awarded as an 8A through the contract end date? If your 8A is going to expire, the government's going to see that it's expired, and you're not going to get awarded that because you need to provide verification of your 8A. And if there's an expiration date and they're not going to award it, no. However, on the opposite, an app can jump in. If you are awarded the contract as an 8A, it is valid through the first, base 5 years. But after that, when you are going through a renewal or a recompete, then it won't be valid any longer.
That's right. That's correct.
A question for later. Is it true to a QP now has to cover 3 domains for maximum points rather than 3 subcategories under 1 domain? I think the question is possibly incorrectly presented. So the domain, 1 domain, let's say management and advisory, that qualifying project, if it works across domains and you can justify it by auto relevance, the scope, the CLIN, and then the JP3 form, then you could use it for 3 domains as long as you can define, again, the management and advisory scope. And then if it meets for technical engineering and all that. But you do have to, as Ab also specified, you really need to carefully have a lot of substantiation throughout that one qualifying project can work across 3 domains.
Muge, can I jump in? Sorry.
Yes, please.
I think perhaps something I said might have created confusion. There is a change in this one, in this iteration of the RFP, or they have clarified what additional functional areas means, because there's a sub-factor under QPs that you get more points if you can prove that the project covered at least 3 different functional areas. They call it distinct functional areas. So you get a few points. I don't remember 1 or 2 points per project. That's where I mentioned. We used to think that when they say distinct functional areas, it means the sub areas under a domain. Now it means each domain. So if you want to get point for that, you have to prove that contract did cover something. It doesn't say how much, maybe worth $2,000, whatever. Something under M&A, something under T&E, something under R&D. That way it covers 3 different distinct functional areas, and you get a point for it, 1 point, I think. So that's the sub-factor under QP. This is completely different from what Muge just explained correctly with regards to going after multiple domains. Over.
Thank you. All right, understanding that subcontractors must be in the same size category as the prime. Do they also need to be in the same socioeconomic category, i.e. can an 8A be a sub to an SDVO prime under the SDVO category? So the first part, yes. So the NAICS code for all teaming partners have to meet the size standard. If it's 25 million for the prime, it's 25 million for the subs. That's standard. The teaming partners do not have to be in the same socioeconomic category. The only rule is a small business company cannot have a large business on their team. If you have a large business on your team, then you have to bid as under unrestricted. You cannot bid as a small business or a socioeconomic category. What if a project doesn't show up in FPDS but is still a federal contract? Does it count as a QP? Yes, it does. How do you do the verification? As we mentioned, there's a JP3 project verification form. You're going to get that completed and signed by your contracting officer or the contracting officer representative. And also, you use your contract award as well as your statement of work, et cetera, to substantiate and get the points and the scoring you need for a QP. So if it's a contract and it meets all the requirements, but you just don't see it in FPDS for whatever reason, you can complete the JP3 form, have your contracting officer or the Corps sign off on it. For scoring for small business, QP management and staffing, or management advisory, I think you mean, do contracts under 500,000 count towards points? No, I believe the small business value is minimum 500,000, which counts as at least for relevance. But if you want to get the scale points, you need to look at, you really need to, and remember, this is all about optimizing and getting the maximum score. And for scale, it's 1 million and 4 million, or 1 million and 5 FTEs, 4 million and 20 FTEs. So you can get the relevancy score, but you won't get the scale score by using a contract that's under 500,000 or even 500,000 or less than 1 million. To ensure the reviewers see your qualifying data, can you highlight in yellow all of the relevant data? So Ab also mentioned this too, and this is also very similar with previous GWAC proposals. When you go into Symphony, there's a series of videos that actually show you how to highlight and what annotations to use to mark up that document. For example, if you're highlighting, the period of performance you want to show, you go into your PDF, the comment, the view, the comment, highlight it, and then the comment box shows up and you write POP, for example. Because what happens is when the government gets your documents, they actually look at the comment field and they go down one by one instead of reviewing your document from front to back. So it's very, very important that you actually highlight and annotate or tag using the codes that they've given to get the points and the scoring properly. For a small business set aside, can we team with a large? I just mentioned that. If you have a large business on your team, if you're the prime as a small business and you bring in a large company, you cannot bid as a small business. You need to bid unrestricted. But vice versa is not a problem. Unrestricted and Ab, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're unrestricted, a small business can be on the unrestricted team.
Yes, and in fact, many small businesses are going as prime under the unrestricted as well, because they just have the contracts and they're going for the unrestricted. But as you said, a large prime can have multiple small businesses as partners under unrestricted.
Thank you. Somebody wanted to know the cost for proposal development. Ab did provide, and it is in the slides. Please do contact Marone Freedy for any support you need, and you can get the costs. Do you match companies based on their needs? This is where you can use your partnering portal, and it is the companies are separated by domain. Go ahead and play around, register, and try to get, find companies that you need to meet your contract domain. If we're interested in your service, should we reach out to Ab or Marone? Please do reach out to Marone. Is GSA Mass considered an IDIQ? No longer. It is not. You're going to need to, you can use the GSA Mass as a task order, as a contract, as a qualifying project, but not to get points for the federal award multiple IDIQ. All right, M&A L.5.31, FEP competition and multiple awards. Does one contract with 4 task orders count for max points of 4? I would say no to that. Wait, just one second. Or do you need 4 separate IDIQ contracts to get the maximum of 4 points? So there is a collection of task orders where you could use it as one project, but that's more for qualifying.
For QP, I think for FEP, there was a question actually, and they answered yes. So in fact, if you have one IDIQ and 4 good task orders under it, over 250K and the other requirements, yes, you can actually put in 4 and get full credit for it.
Right, but the downside of that is if you're using those same contracts to get the FEP experience, so different funding agency, if it's all issued under the same funding agency, it's all going to have the same funding agency code, so you're not going to get those multiple points. You're only going to get 1 point. The next question on M&A L5.5.2.3.4, management and staffing. Please clarify how many max 7 points are determined for this QP. Example, 3 points for search, 3 points for managing, 3 or more first tier, and 1 point for services that involve 5 or more. So to answer your question, for those points, it's per project and it's one of those. It's not all of those. You do not get additional points for every single one of them. It's for one. So if you can demonstrate that across all 5 of your QPs, then you're going to max the score for management and staffing. And also note for that surge capability, you actually, well, one, it needs to show that on your contract that there's a surge, requirement, and 2, you have to be able to prove that a surge requirement was actually activated, where you were told to perform the surge, which is above and beyond your current scope. So it's very important that you can't just say, hey, this contract had surged, and you can highlight it, but you never had to meet a surge requirement. That's not going to give you the points that you need there.
Muge, I think we ran out of time.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so we'll just get back to everybody with the answers to these questions app, right? The other ones that we couldn't get to?
Yes, we'll send everyone the response for all the questions.
I was having so much fun answering questions. Time just ran out on us. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We appreciate you listening into our webinar. And if you need any support from us, as we mentioned, it's at the end of the slides. And contact Marone, and he will get back to you with any support that you need. Thank you.
Yep. On my side, thank you, everyone. Just 2 points. I made a mistake in typing that link for the Partnering Hub, and I have put it up again. So use the newer link. And if you want to get that 490, assessment, there's no need to contact Marone. That link that I gave you, that to the right hand side of the monitor, you can click on that link and go and buy it directly through credit card, and the process starts automatically. So there's no need to actually contact Marone on that. Thank you, everyone, for your time. And
the wonderful comments on our webinar.
Hours.
Thank you very much for your great comments, too. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Bye.